calls Han Solo a bitch.
Bring him on. I prefer a straight fight to all the sneaking around.
I don't know where you get your delusions, laser brain.
Oh, come on, bro. It's the wars.
Well, what an exciting week. We got more Bo-Katan, the Mandalorian, and the Pick of Destiny. This is the Wars and More. I'm Joe. And of course, with me is my good buddy Doug. Hey, Doug, how you doing this week?
I'm doing all right. How you doing, Joe?
I'm doing okay.
Is that what's the name of that band? I forget that.
Tenacious D.
Tenacious D. Yeah, that's a reference from Tenacious D. Got it. Yeah. Just couldn't remember the name of them.
I had to do it. I had to do it because obviously we got Jack Black in this episode.
Right.
And what ends up being one of the main components of this episode, the Darksaber.
Yes, the Darksaber, which...
So I couldn't resist a Pick of Destiny joke. Like,
right. That works.
I mean, after I said it, it worked less than I thought it would, but... like, it sounded good in my head.
Yeah, totally.
Sometimes the execution is not quite there. It'll come to me after all this, like, oh, I should have said it this way, and it would have been perfect.
Right, that's all right. It works out.
But, so we're talking, well, here we go. What episode number was this season?
All right, I'm going to say it. This is Season 3, Episode 6, Chapter 22. Guns for Hire.
I didn't have to do it this week.
Yeah.
I always end up so out of breath. You know,
Exactly.
It derails me for the rest of the episode.
I thought about it as like, man, these things are getting long, these titles.
Well, they called it Guns for Hire. I guess what they were talking about is like, okay, how many different actors can we bring into this?
Yeah, true. That's a good point. I like that. Yeah.
And actually, now that I think of it that way, I was like, man, I kind of like all the cameos now.
Yeah?
Because, yeah, you got the Guns for Hire, which is the mercenaries.
Right.
You got all the people that are only going to show up in this episode.
This is true.
Oh, my God, they're good at what they do.
Yeah. I mean, there's double meanings to, like, everything that they do now. You got to pick up on all of it.
Right.
You got to try anyway.
It's getting ridiculous.
It is getting ridiculous.
Sorry, got to fix something across the room here.
Uh-oh. Studio's breaking down?
Oh, yeah. Falling apart. All right, we're good.
Oh, good.
I was like, oh, that was bad timing. Couldn't have a chance to do that like when you were on one of your
Right.
had to happen right then.
Yeah.
Like when it's like, all right, anywho. I guess let's just lay out the cameos right up front.
Okay.
So we had Jack Black.
Yes. Clearly.
Already mentioned.
Yeah.
Lizzo.
Right.
And Christopher Lloyd.
Right.
All in one episode. Holy crap.
One episode, right. The only way they could have, like, squeezed some more in there is if they'd have been, a Quarren or something. Oh, really?
Jeez.
Really? I was in Star Wars. I just had a mask on.
Which, they threw a Quarren in there.
Yeah, a few.
And a Mon Calamari.
And a Moncal, yeah. So.
Yeah, wow. This was really just the...
And then if you count every droid that's ever been in Star Wars,
yep, there's more.
There's more.
They literally fit them all in there.
Somehow I doubt it was all of them, but my God, there was a ton of them. Looking back through, all the droids. They even comment on how these droids go back to the Clone Wars and all that. And it's like, yeah, my God, there was a lot. Just you got to look off into the peripheries of each shot to catch it all for sure.
All right. Well, story-wise, I mean, it had a lot going on.
Yeah.
How did it come across to you?
I mean, it was okay story-wise. I enjoyed it. It was like a sidetrack off the main arc that the bulk of this episode was, though we still had the resolution to the main arc that kept that going. So
yeah, I mean, it was a definite side quest,
right?
And do you remember the conversations in between seasons here, which was what, a year and a half, 2 years, but
right.
Like, it was a long break for the Mandalorian.
Yes, it was.
I mean, do you remember the conversations talking about like if Katie Sackhoff was even coming back?
Oh yeah.
And it's like, I feel like she's the main character.
Right.
I mean, how do we go from like, we don't know if Katie Sackhoff's coming back. They went through filming, all this stuff. Like, okay, yeah, she's there.
Right.
Yeah, she's there all the time. Probably more than Pedro Pascal.
That's probably true because yes,
it's 100% true.
There are 3 men who play that part. Yes. I mean, it wouldn't surprise me if there's a whole bunch of Din Djarin being played by other dudes and he just comes in and voices it. That's, yeah.
Oh yeah, I mean, this guy's just showing up for ADR.
Right.
Like, I don't know how much suit work he's doing anymore.
I'm with you there. Which, if you're not showing his face, it still works for me, to be honest.
No, it's good.
Yeah.
It's good. It actually really works.
Yeah.
And it's fine. I'm not like criticizing, but tons of people are looking for work from home gigs.
Somehow I think it's not a work from home gig.
No, I'm sure he's in studio. It just sounds good.
It's yeah, it sounds funny. But yeah, I
although he's doing all right, he could probably do it from home.
Sure. I mean, yeah. I mean, what choice would they have? They'd be like, yes, we'll send you all this stuff and get you a studio set up in your house. Fine.
Right.
I mean.
James Earl Jones wasn't coming to the studio, so.
Oh, that's for sure.
But he did fine.
Yeah, he did.
So. But yeah, it is funny. When you look at the IMDb, it's like Pedro Pascal, The Mandalorian. Brendan Wayne, The Mandalorian.
Right.
Lateef Crowder, The Mandalorian.
Yes.
I'm like,
it takes 3 guys to make this character. That's awesome.
And then we got one right here, Katie Sackhoff, Bo-Katan Kryze.
Right.
I'm scrolling through. Yep, that's the only one.
Yep. So true.
So, mad props to Pedro, man. He found a perfect gig.
Yes, he did. So, with all these cameos, again, I hate, I don't like the term or anything, but it didn't quote unquote pull you out of the story or anything, did it? I mean, it's
No, actually, I thought everybody did well for what they laid out there.
right.
I think the one thing that kind of hurt the story a little bit was this what are they calling it? The Republic program for Imperial officers.
Oh, I forget. It's one thing I didn't write down. Whoa.
We just went over it a couple weeks ago.
I know. You almost want to
You
call
said
it
it 50 times.
a re-education or something like that. What the heck?
Something
was
like that.
that? Yeah.
But I'm sorry, Jack Black.
Yeah.
I need to see this guy as Imperial officer because I don't believe it.
Right.
I don't see this character as an Imperial officer. Unless you really went hard on the lobotomy shock there. Like,
Exactly. Yeah. He what is he an officer of? Maybe that's the better question to be answered.
sanitation?
It could be.
Like, I don't know. Like, I just, that one part, that one detail, I struggle with.
Right.
And I think I struggle with it because they made this character so Jack Black.
Yeah. I mean, there's almost
He almost kind of needed a moment, right? Where he got super serious. And I think they tried to do it. You know, there was a time where, like, that can be arranged. But, and they're like doing that, but like, it's still Jack Black coming through.
yeah, exactly. Because after he says that, he gives that little like nod of his head, like, "Come on, follow me," kind of thing. Like,
Yeah, we got to see the view
without trying to be too obvious, but yet he's like so obvious about it. It's It's that sort of thing where it's like,
Yeah, his borderline Chris Farley head shake that he does.
Right, exactly.
Yeah, it's hard to shake that.
Yep.
And I don't want to be like that. Like, oh well, that kind of took me out. It didn't take me out of it,
No.
But through a hypercritical lens,
yeah,
that was a hard sell.
Right.
Watching it in reality, it wasn't that bad.
Right.
But you're trying to picture this guy as an Imperial officer. Did they say officer? I think they did.
Yeah, I think so.
So you're trying to picture this guy as an Imperial officer. The very uptight,
Right. Because that's the way they were. Like, you got to think back to original trilogy. That's, yes.
I mean, even in what they've done in modern Star Wars, they're uptight.
Yeah, true.
They're uptight. They're brutal even. Like, you don't see any Imperial officers that like let off any sign of goofy.
Right.
So that was kind of hard to shake, but at the same time, I didn't let it distract me from the episode.
Good. I feel like, the things that we just talked about aside, I felt like the episode moved along well enough and told its story, and that was all good.
Oh, and the story was kind of cool too. Like how they described, like, the people wanted a pluralistic society, right?
Right. Which
So
I took to mean, like, he even brought up, your Mandalorians and your armor and your weapons are part of your culture, So their pluralistic society is like, everyone.
that's okay.
Yeah, exactly. Everyone from anywhere can be whoever they are, right? That's great. And so.
And I thought it was cool. They used it as a mechanism to get them in there to take care of this droid problem.
Exactly.
Like, I thought that was well executed.
Sure.
And I think using the term like we have a very pluralistic society, and seeing these two as the leaders of that society is like, okay, this is working.
Right.
So you're having a very open and accepting society, and you got these two characters that are portraying their characters in this way. Because I mean, I thought Lizzo really killed that.
I have to say, now, full disclosure, not a Lizzo fan. Don't, I didn't even recognize her at first, right? It was looking into the episode where I found out that's who that was. And,
right.
Kind of pleasantly surprised at how well she played the character that she played there. So.
Agreed. I mean, I'm always hesitant when you bring singers in, right?
Yes.
When you bring in musical performers, like, Lady Gaga's been one that's surprised me in acting, right?
Right.
Jared Leto was one that surprised me in acting.
Yep.
When you bring in singers, it's always, it's like bringing in wrestlers, right? It's one or the other.
Right, yeah.
They're really good or really bad.
Exactly. It could go, one way or the other. That's a perfect way of putting it. It's,
and
yeah.
I think with Lizzo's case here, they built a character that she really fell into,
right.
Played well.
Yep.
Was very comfortable. She was very comfortable. There was no awkward moments.
Right.
When you have someone who doesn't do a ton of acting and you bring them in, there's sometimes awkward moments, and she didn't have that.
Yeah.
It was very natural. Like,
yep, I would agree.
It turned out really good. I particularly like the part she's like, "Can I hold the baby?"
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that was, I don't know. The one part, though, that I was like, she's petting Grogu on the head like it's a toy poodle. That
was a little odd.
Yeah, it was a little out there, yeah. It's like,
but at the same time, like the part leading up to that, like I said, where she's like, "Can I hold the baby?"
Yeah.
Like, the way she did, like, it seems so genuine. Like, she just wanted to hold Grogu, right? Like I felt like it was like how a lot of people would react to seeing the actual Grogu puppet. And stuff,
sure.
Right? Can I hold it? Like, it was so genuine, and I thought it was good.
Yes.
And then he does like a flip across the thing because she's got like a little fish or whatever,
something like that. Yeah.
He's like, yeah, I thought that was funny.
I will say, though, if I ever walk into a party and they say, "I hope you enjoy secretions," I'm out. That's
Whoa.
Yeah, exactly.
Wrong party.
Right.
Didn't sign up for this shit.
Right. Yeah. Yep. Nope. Bye. But yeah, I overall,
which they did that well, I think, too. Like, you hear the voice, it's like, oh, that's Jack Black, ain't it?
Oh yeah, totally.
And then he shows on the screen, he's like, damn it, it's Jack.
Yeah, exactly. Yes, that is exactly how that went. And then you just had to let it play out, and it was like, okay, it was okay.
It's not bad.
It's not bad.
Like,
it's all right. It's working.
It could be worse.
Right. But I mean, so you have this what they call it, a fully democratic society, right? So and nobody works, and it's everyone enjoys their leisure and taking part in their democracy and this and that, whatever.
So it's a totally socialist democratic society.
Yeah, pretty much. So and you have your elected monarchs, right? It's exactly kind of what you expect out of these two characters,
Out of Jack Black for sure. Like, you're just like throwing the absolute ridiculous.
Yeah. I mean, it had a little
totally elected monarchs. Look, what?
Had a little bit of the feel of the capital city in Hunger Games to it. You know what I'm saying? A little bit of that. So, and you would imagine, much like in Hunger Games where you had all the other districts doing the work for the capital city, here you have all the droids doing the work for the populace. And, so you kind of get the same
and they're
feel.
Super happy about it.
Oh, the droids?
Yeah.
Yeah, that was kind of funny. That was something that kind of flipped on its head that I thought, wow, that was a neat way of going about doing this.
Mm-hmm.
The droids are afraid of losing their jobs. Whereas, we're kind of like in a world right now where people are starting to become afraid of losing their jobs to AI. So it's like, huh, okay. In that same part of the episode, we also had the episode 4 cantina scene flipped on its head too.
Yeah.
They had the whole we don't serve their kind here. And they did everything but the record scratch,
Oh yeah.
The music stops.
They
all the
walk in,
droids stop.
Like, oh, what?
It's like the droids are literally partying, drinking oil, and and in comes Mando and Bo-Katan, and it's like they all sit still. It's like, wow.
Okay. I'm sorry to everybody with sensitive ears, but I got to do it again because when they found what did they call it? The card thing.
Oh, is it resistor or resonator or something?
The resistor was the name of the bar,
right? Oh,
but they
God,
they called the card something. Either way, it doesn't really matter,
right?
But she says the resistor, and he goes, "Sounds like a droid bar." I was like, "What the fuck is a droid bar?"
I know. Exactly.
So apologies.
Yes.
But I don't think there was any other way to convey my reaction.
Well, you got to see what one looks like.
And it got there and I'm like, well, I guess I'm not disappointed.
Right.
This is oddly hilarious yet cool at the same time.
Yeah. It did make me smile though. The juxtaposition of that and the cantina and
yes, and it's that, and it's just the right amount of weird.
Right. Yeah, that's a good way of putting it. The right amount of weird. Yes.
It's just the right amount of weird. It's one of those things that they're doing the best they can to keep Star Wars fun, and I think that's important.
I totally agree with that. Keeping it.
It was a fun scene. Super weird.
Right.
But fun. Like,
yes.
I think it did a good job of reminding us not to take ourselves too seriously. And I think this whole episode kind of did that because there were a lot of moments like that. Like for instance, we get down to the docks, right?
Yeah.
And
okay.
I know we're completely skipping some stuff. We'll come back to it.
Okay,
what we do.
But yes, but I have to jump in real quick. Okay.
Yeah.
one place where I think they're trying to keep it fun and or whatever, it struck me the wrong way is when they're asking them to deal with the droid problem, and Din's like, "You had me at battle droids." I'm like, "No, you don't do Jerry Maguire take on quotes, in Star Wars." That was a little odd, but anyway.
Oh, really? You went Jerry Maguire on that?
Yeah, where she says, "You had me at hello." That was, yeah.
Oh. I just took it as, like, he really wants to kill battle droids.
Yeah, I get it, but,
I didn't even go to Jerry Maguire on that.
I don't know.
That just proves Star Wars, different strokes for different folks, like...
Yep.
We
Sorry.
all kind of interpret this stuff a little differently.
That was one that was like a little bit like, okay, I guess. But anyway, down at the docks. Yeah.
Down at the docks. And it's just keeping with that, like, they're doing things that are like, don't take this too seriously, right?
Right.
Bo-Katan's trying to quiz these, this B1, right?
Yep.
And Din is over there just kicking.
Yeah.
B2s as they walk by.
I wouldn't do that if I were you. Yeah.
Yeah. And he's just like, he's just kicking away. And I couldn't help but laugh. I was just like, he's just sitting there kicking battle droids. Like, I'm going to find him.
Yep. It was funny.
So it was just one of those moments like, yes, do this. I like this. It was super humorous and I'm laughing my ass off, but at the same time, it ended up fitting. They found it.
Yeah, totally.
But like, that's an interesting way to go about it. Like, I'm going to kick 4 droids and hopefully one of them.
Exactly. It worked. I guess. It was funny. It was good.
All right. So, where do we want to go? Because we kind of skipped over a lot to get to where we're at.
Yeah. Well, okay, since you were right there, I will say, seeing the B2 battle droid running all over the place, that was a little odd. Because normally what we see is they're marching, kind of.
Yeah, and they're very limited in their movement.
Right.
Yeah, even in the Clone Wars, right? They were very...
Pretty much, yeah.
You didn't really see this, like... What was that James Bond movie where they went crazy with the parkour?
I don't know. But in Star Wars, that was kind of reserved for those, what are they, assassin droids or whatever they were?
Right.
Yeah.
But I think it was Casino Royale. In the beginning of Casino Royale, they had this like super like crazy parkour scene. I'm like, this is James Bond? Because James Bond was the same way, right? Like, it wasn't very... the action wasn't like this prior to Daniel Craig.
Gotcha. Right.
Pierce Brosnan was like the fastest action you saw in James Bond. Like, he's running around corners and there's, the bullet flashes and stuff. Like,
gotcha.
Like, but you get to Casino Royale and they're running up cranes and shit. Like what's going on?
Huh. Nice.
And like, not just like running up, like you got to do crazy parkour stuff. Like you're tucking through little dips and jumping off buildings. Like it gets crazy.
Nice.
It's like, I don't know what I'm watching. I thought I came for James Bond and I'm watching Born Identity.
Hey, you got to compete,
Or I guess Transporter or something like that would have been better. Like that super fast paced crap,
Right. Fast and Furious. Stuff like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Stuff like that.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's the B2 now.
Right. That was a little crazy, I will say. Something we hadn't seen before.
Cool.
Right.
Because wow, this is a TV show and you got these special effects for the city and it looks like this. I mean, you could tell it was CGI and special effects.
Yeah.
But at the same time, like, who does that in TV?
Right. Yeah. That, I will say they definitely spare no expense for a television show. That's for sure.
Oh, just and I think the other thing is like the stuff they can push the boundaries with the volume.
Oh yeah.
It's insane.
It is insane. And helps to place you in that world for sure in Star Wars.
Yeah, and you can tell they're learning more and more things they can do with this thing.
Yeah.
'Cause, dang. Because there's no way they're doing these shots like George did with episode 1, right? Like, you just can't.
Oh,
budget.
No. That was, that was early days. That was early pioneer stuff there George was doing.
I get that, but I'm just saying, like, I'm just saying the method, which I guess I should have used episode 9. They're not doing these shots like they would for episode 9.
Right.
Okay, where you're CGI in this whole damn thing.
Yeah.
This isn't Canto Bite.
Right.
So go to episode 8. This isn't Canto Bite.
There you go.
They are doing this on a budget that works for TV in one room.
Right.
And they're shooting it live. Because those screens look like your background.
Yeah, exactly.
It's so crazy. I get super impressed by this thing. The more and more I see it. I mean, it's at the same time, it's like you know what you're looking at, but it's like, damn, that looks good.
Right.
But all right. So we completely bounced right over Christopher Lloyd.
Yes. Which I kind of liked it, his character in this. Playing just like the guy sitting in front of all the monitors and in control of all these droids kind of thing. Thought he played that well.
Yeah. I think I'm just going to skip right to the end. Like, so he ends up being the bad guy here.
Right.
He got these nanobots or whatever that's reprogramming these droids via the droid bar.
Right. What was that stuff? Nepenthe.
Yeah.
That drink. Yeah. That has nano droids in it.
Yeah. Also a stretch, but hey, okay.
Well, hey. Seems like
they have droid bars here, so
they have droid bars, and they party down drinking oil, and there's nanobots in the oil. It's like, yeah, it's almost like a virus. It's kind of hilarious. Contaminated.
Right. So the part that got me was like we get to the end and he's like apologizing to the Duchess.
Yeah.
obviously his beef is not with her.
Right.
He actually has reverence for her.
Yeah. Yeah, this place was great till you got here, Jack Black.
Right. And I'm like, what about this guy seems like an Imperial officer?
Exactly.
I'm like, it's not working.
No.
That part's not working. That is falling flat. This is the miss of this entire episode for me.
Okay.
Is you're trying to sell that this guy was an Imperial officer, and it's just not working.
Right.
There's not one bit about him that feels like that. Not one.
Yes, when you say Imperial officer, the image in your head is not Jack Black. That's for sure.
No, especially not this Jack Black where he looks like, like he's about to sing Master of the House, like it's just not working.
Right. Master of the House. That's funny. Yeah.
Am I wrong?
Well, I mean, yes, he definitely looks like he could be from French aristocracy. Yes.
But like on hard times.
Yes. That is kind of funny.
That's probably going over a lot of people's head. Like,
It could be.
I hope not, but yeah, it's not working for me.
Right.
I think I almost hate to say, like, you almost kind of got to redeem this and show me something with him as an Imperial officer.
It would be interesting to see, that's for sure. Because I would have to imagine he's got to be some kind of a low-level Imperial officer. He can't be anything of any standing, and somehow only through falling in love with the what was her title?
The Duchess?
Duchess, yes. Only through falling in love with the Duchess does he gain his seat of power where he's at now, So that's kind of how I see it, I guess. That's because he is definitely not what I envision when I think Imperial officer.
Amnesty program.
Amnesty program. Perfect. God, that was bugging you, wasn't it? Wow.
Oh man, like it obviously. I mean,
Right.
It wasn't in the forefront of my mind, but like it just clicked. It was like amnesty program. That's what it was.
Yes.
So no, it wasn't really bugging me, but it came to me right there, and it's like, gotta say it.
Oh, that's funny.
Yeah, I don't see it. Like I said, I hate to say I want to see it because I think you almost kind of got to just let your imagination run wild here and say, okay, if he was going to completely flip and be something different, I picture him as this.
Right. I kind of feel the same way. Yes, because you can kind of make your own assessment of what he was like as an Imperial officer. Hopefully they don't fall into the trap of, well, we got to show the fans because they want to see it, kind of thing, because it seems to happen a lot more than it should these days. And, we don't need that necessarily.
Right. I say if you do it in the next season of The Bad Batch.
Oh, that'd be funny. Yeah, okay. That would make more sense because you don't have to see it in real life in live action.
Right.
Yeah.
You can animate it. You can bring him in to do the voice. I'm sure he can do whatever voice you need him to do.
Right.
We've seen a lot out of Jack Black. Like he can do a lot.
Yeah.
I think at this point in the game, though, like seeing him on screen as an Imperial officer is gonna be like, yeah, that doesn't work.
Exactly.
He's just done too much funny.
Yes.
Just too much funny, and I hate to be like that. I hate to cast type like.
But
or
it just makes sense though. I mean,
yeah,
you know, leave it as is. That's
it's just funny. Like it like that was my hang up. I'm like, oh wow, you got Jack Black.
Oh, that's too funny.
And I guess is it still a cameo to see how do you pronounce her name here? Mercedes Varnado back. So Sasha Banks?
I don't think so. I think that's more of just a returning character. Wouldn't call it a cameo.
Yeah, at this point, so you're like at 3 episodes, you're a returning character.
Yeah. Same with Axe Woves, you know. We know where he's from. I mean, clearly they felt they had to remind us in the previously on portion, but you know.
Right, but he wasn't like this guy. What did he do? Like, it's not like he's like Sasha Banks, wrestler, right? Like,
right, yeah, not known from something else. Correct.
Right.
Yeah. At least not known to me from something else.
Right. Right. Yeah, I'm looking at his IMDb right now. Yeah, we didn't know who he was.
Right.
I mean, I guess he was in Agent Shield, 12 episodes.
Okay.
Didn't watch it, so I don't know.
Yeah, me neither. But oh man, I was gonna make a point. Now I forgot. Yeah. I don't know. I just call her a returning character.
Okay.
I believe it is time to move on to the overarching story that they set off to tell, right?
Oh, yeah, we should finally get there.
Yeah. And I just got to say, if we recall back a few episodes, I called this one. I at least brought it into question. You know, I think I'll put it that way. I brought the question to the forefront because...
And I will say this, in the overarching Star Wars community,
yes,
you were not alone.
Right.
There were a lot of people calling this out.
Right.
And I stayed on my high horse a little bit. I'm like, no, I think I explained this. like, no, this wasn't a fight. This wasn't honorable.
Right.
And then here we are. I'm full of shit. So,
well, I mean, you had your thought process behind this, right?
Yes.
I mean, which I understand, but I also feel like, you know, when it comes to what the Mandalorians consider battle, you know, it doesn't necessarily need to be like against a person or something. You know what I'm saying? I you know, and I harken back to the whole Mudhorn discussion, you know, that I had in season 1.
Yeah, I think my problem here is, you know, I liken the Mandalorian honor to something like kung fu karate, something like that, right? Like, so, and like growing up with you know, like Karate Kid and watching
Right.
old Bruce Lee movies and
Right.
things like that. Like I expected Honor to be something different.
Almost like a tournament setting kind of.
Yes, and I expected that like level of respect for Honor to carry over into how you would gain something like the Darksaber.
Gotcha.
But after seeing this episode and thinking about it and thinking about things you said, the Mandalorian is about being a warrior, right? Like,
Right.
so being an effective warrior, you're gonna employ things like guile and misdirection, traps.
Yeah.
So combat's combat.
Yes.
If you weren't ready for it, that's your fault. You should have been ready.
Exactly.
You trained for this. You should be ready at all times.
Right.
You're walking that warrior way, right? Like,
Yeah. Yeah. To quote Pre Vizsla. Yes.
yes. Like, and that's exactly where my mind went after seeing this and thinking about it and thinking about what you said is if you are that warrior, you should be ready for a fight at all times.
Yep.
So getting caught off guard, that's on you.
Yeah, totally.
So this worked.
Yep. My one hang up that I have with it is why didn't Mando insist that Bo-Katan take the Darksaber right then and there? I mean, or was he waiting for a forum to explain what happened and have them agree? I mean, I
think he was where I'm at.
Oh, really? Like he wasn't really sure that
counted.
Qualified? Huh. So he just throws this out there as a trial balloon to all these other Mandalorians.
He's like, well, I'm not sure, so I'll throw it out there. And that's why he asked the second time. Like,
yeah.
Doesn't it?
Yeah. Doesn't it make it hers? Yeah.
Yeah, he asked the second time. Like, he wasn't sure. He was with me. And I think that helped even more because I'm like, yeah, I asked a second. Like, what really?
Oh, that's funny.
Like Dave and John thought of me when they wrote that.
Yeah, I don't think that's true, but
I don't mean me personally, but I mean like people thinking the way I was thinking.
Right.
And that I think possibly.
Oh.
Like that hesitancy, because it seemed like there was hesitancy from Wolves, Bo-Katan,
yeah,
everybody. Like everybody was like, "Really? Does that count?" So I think they thought of the fan that went each way in that whole thought, like, because that came up immediately. The Bo-Katan being the rightful owner of the Darksaber came up immediately after that episode with that creature on Mandalore.
Oh, you mean in the discussions about it?
Yes.
Yeah. Totally.
That came up immediately.
Well, that was my first thought. As soon as she used it to defeat that creature, robot creature thing, I thought, well, that's it. It's hers now.
And like you look back on it, like they show it laying there.
Right.
Like he's separated from it.
Yes.
So, like, looking back on it, they laid all the groundwork to start that discussion amongst fandom. Like, does Din truly own the Darksaber now?
Right.
Or does it belong to Bo-Katan? And then they get to this scene in this episode where he has to ask the question twice because everybody's sitting there thinking about it. Like, wait, does it work that way?
Right.
So they thought this through.
They're all just waiting for Axe Wolves to say yes. Then they'll all agree. Yeah.
Agreed. But even he didn't answer right away.
True.
And I don't think it was because he was like not wanting it to be true. He was like running it through in his head. Like, does some creature on Mandalore count?
Right.
Or does it have to be a Mandalorian or another sentient? Like what counts? Does like a little walking crab brain creature count? Like,
apparently it does.
It does. It does, apparently. So I think they thought that through very well and played it out very well, because they created that discussion, and then when it got to the moment of reveal, they delayed it. And it let everybody think like, huh, does it?
Right.
I thought that was good.
It was good. It was good.
Because they played into how we were feeling.
Yeah. And I think this is good. Because
now I will say,
was that
not to interrupt you there, but yeah, I will say,
you'll do it anyway.
I do feel like I'm in the minority of thinking the other way. I've only seen a few other people kind of think the way I thought. Like, no, it wasn't a fair fight.
Oh, gotcha.
Like, and when I say a few, I mean a few.
Okay.
There was the vast majority were like, no, it's Bo-Katan's. I'm over here like, I don't know.
Yeah. I think where this leaves us, though, is in a good spot for story, though.
Oh, yeah.
Because this wraps that up. You know, we don't have the Darksaber being held over our heads anymore as far as, like, how's, you know, Bo-Katan wants it. You know, how is she going to get it from, you know, that kind of, you know, I'm glad that it's just handled now kind of thing. So now we can move on, right? Bo-Katan can bring all the Mandalorians together.
Yep. It proved to be a mechanism to introduce us to the true main character of this show. No, you're not going to bite?
No, go for it. I'm waiting.
Oh, Bo-Katan, dude. Like,
right, as it should be. Anyway. I was waiting for you to say
you're going to go there.
Well, you know, why not?
I will say, like, this kind of this is another thing that kind of irritated me. I mean, I'm all for it, but at the same time, Ben, this is the third season, and you got me invested in this guy, and we are still not talking about this damn guy.
Yeah, but this guy,
we are,
involved.
But he is merely a mechanism. He has not been the main character. That's the way I feel. That's my opinion, not yours.
No, I get it, but you know, really, it's one of those kind of things where he kind of seems to be around for certain major happenings in the galaxy, right? Taking down the pirates on Navarro.
This is the greatest side character story ever told.
Kinda, yeah. I mean, it's kind of using the same trope that George intended to use C-3PO and R2-D2 for. You know, they're going to be around. You know who doesn't help? Who doesn't help?
Yeah, you know who doesn't help? Huh. IMDb.
Why?
Because you go over to IMDb, Pedro Pascal, the Mandalorian.
Yeah. Yes.
Not Din Djarin.
I got you. Yeah, it should say Din Djarin.
It should say Din Djarin.
Yeah.
And then I guess my real problem's with IMDb.
There you go.
Huh?
I said, there you go. That's what it is.
But no, I mean, it's not just that. They call him Mando. You know, like it's.
Well, Grief Cargo does.
Yeah.
Karga. Sorry.
Yeah, cargo.
I know.
Yeah, you know, grief Amazon.
Yeah. Funny.
Yeah, I mean, they could just put an S on the end of the title and like it's good.
Yeah.
Call it the Mandalorians.
Right.
I'm not upset anymore.
Well, I don't think you should be upset in the first place, but
And-
okay.
Well, and I air my displeasure, but it's minor.
Yeah, I get
It
it.
always has been since the beginning of all this. Like it's always been minor because I truly enjoy the stories we're getting. Seeing Bo-Katan with the Darksaber again got me super pumped.
Right on.
I mean, Bo-Katan in this series is probably the character I was most pumped for all along. I mean, super pumped for Ahsoka because Ahsoka,
Yeah, totally.
right? Super pumped for Luke Skywalker because Luke Skywalker. Those are the reasons. But like in context of the show, Bo-Katan always made the most sense to show up here.
Right.
And Bo-Katan is one of those characters, if you were ever going to tell a Mandalorian story, she had to be there.
Right.
For me, that was never Boba Fett. It was never Boba Fett.
Yeah. I have to say, with the way everything's played out, yeah, Boba Fett's he's got his own thing happening over there, and that's
That's fine.
it's fine. Yeah,
And it should stay over there.
exactly.
But Bo-Katan, yeah, super pumped for this character. Super pumped that, you know, things have worked out the way they are. She's had her moments and her visions,
Right.
whether it's real or not. Like this is up in the air. But you know, she's had all these moments throughout this journey with Din, and it's super cool. But I feel like we've now shifted from where Din's the main character to Bo-Katan's the main character.
Well,
At least it feels that way.
yeah. I mean, it's funny. I feel like Din has been around to help move other characters along. So that's kind of what's been taking place, really. So, you know, I'm kind of okay with that. You know, it's like we're just kind of following him along, and he, yeah, he's just around for all these significant events, kind of thing. That works for me.
Yeah, I mean it works. It's a good story.
Yeah.
You know, we're getting to see all these things we always wanted to see in live action, which is Mandalorians fighting.
That's true.
I mean, there's only one thing in Star Wars that I can think that was clamored for like this, and that's Mandalorians in combat.
Right.
You know, we got to see Jedi, we got to see all this stuff. Mandalorians is a different level of cool.
Yeah. Totally.
Yeah, it was established with Boba Fett and like, you know, the limited technology of the time and things like that. You got to see this like basic version of it. But
Right.
there was enough there because the jetpack was an accident. You know, there was enough there to think, wow, I bet these guys are really cool in real combat.
Yeah. And especially with all the stuff we saw in the Clone Wars.
Right. That's what I was going to say is then you got to animation
Yeah.
and you got to see all this cool stuff.
Right.
And it's like, okay, we've now crossed another threshold we need to see it in live action.
Right.
And we've gotten that. And they're killing it. I mean, even the fight in this episode between Wolves and Bo-Katan.
Yep.
Obviously toned down because probably running out of budget after that city.
Right. Yes.
But really awesome.
Yeah, totally.
I love that they worked that little wrist shield that she's got into this stuff.
Oh yeah.
Like that popped up again. I'm like, that's so cool.
Yeah, absolutely.
So yeah, Bo-Katan's got the Darksaber again.
Called it.
Yeah, I mean, it makes sense. I mean, Din couldn't even swing the damn thing.
Right, exactly. He had a hard time with it again this episode when he took down that.
Was it ever really his?
No, it wasn't, and that's the thing. You know, I mean, and the armorer told him as much. So, because Bo-Katan doesn't seem to have an issue holding that thing up.
And in that episode where she was fighting that thing and she ends up with it, and you're like, wow, someone can swing this thing for real.
Yeah, exactly.
So they just showed, like, it never really left her.
Right.
I mean, Gideon didn't seem to have a problem. He did all right with it. He didn't seem to be fighting against it.
Yeah. That's just all this hate. I don't know. That's not a real answer. That's just throwing something out there.
I think it was just his arrogance. He knew he could do it because he's him.
Right.
I'm just saying that's the way that character stands.
Yeah, I am Moff Gideon. I am a badass.
Yeah, and he owned it when he took it.
Right.
He's like, this is mine now. I am in control.
Right.
Never felt that way. He never felt in control. Never understood why he had it. Didn't want the weight of it. Literally.
Right.
So the weight of being in control of the Darksaber and everything it carried literally translated into him trying to wield it.
Makes sense.
Whereas Bo-Katan, she wants to lead Mandalore.
Right.
She wants to bring it back to prominence. The weight of that doesn't affect her.
Right.
It's where she wants to be. Well, all right. Did we miss anything?
I think we got it, man.
All right. Well, if you have anything to add, you can always email us, show@thewarsandmore.com. That's the best way to get a hold of us. We're also on social media, @thewarsandmore on Twitter, facebook.com/thewarsandmore. You can find all that and all the ways to find the show over at thewarsandmore.com. Any final thoughts this week, Doug?
No, I think we've about covered it.
All right. We will talk next week.